After 60, one simple mistake at dinner can quietly push your blood sugar higher for hours, even when you're counting carbs and cooking at home. Some meats inflame the body, stiffen insulin's signal, and make post-meal spikes harder to control, while others actually steady your numbers and support healthier metabolism. And the difference isn't just which meat you choose, it's the cut, the fat balance, and how it's cooked. Pick the wrong version and you can undo a whole day of good decisions. Pick the right one and you flatten your glucose curve almost automatically. Today we're breaking down 5 meats that help older adults keep glucose steady, why they work, and how to prepare them safely. Plus the one common meat that can quietly raise insulin resistance, even in small amounts. Let's start with a familiar favorite that stays juicy, satisfies cravings, and, when you remove one simple layer, becomes surprisingly blood sugar friendly. What if the juiciest cut of chicken could be an easy way to keep blood sugar steadier? Skinless chicken thighs give you satisfying flavor with almost no carbohydrates, so your meal doesn't drive glucose the way refined starches do. The protein in thighs helps moderate post-meal spikes when you pair it with carbohydrates, leading to a calmer rise and more even energy into the evening. Thighs sometimes get blamed for being too fatty, and that can raise concerns about insulin and heart health. Here's the key difference: take off the skin, and you remove most of the saturated fat while keeping the tender texture that makes this cut so enjoyable. What's left is a balanced protein source with some natural marbling. That small amount of fat helps you feel full and satisfied, which can reduce late-night grazing, the snacking that often leads to unexpected glucose bumps. You don't need the science lecture to see the payoff. Meals built around protein with a bit of healthy fat tend to keep you satisfied longer, which makes it easier to avoid extras that push numbers up. Aim for what you can feel: steadier energy after dinner and fewer swings that interrupt your evening. Keep portions simple. 3 to 4 ounces cooked is a strong baseline for most adults. Season with garlic, lemon, and rosemary, then bake, grill, air fry, or slow cook. These methods add flavor without adding refined carbs. Skip sugary barbecue sauces or honey glazes that can load an extra 8 to 20 grams of sugar per 2 tablespoon serving. Many popular bottles list brown sugar, molasses, or corn syrup high on the label. If you like a sauce, reduce balsamic vinegar with herbs, or stir Dijon mustard into olive oil and lemon for a quick pan finish that stays low in sugar. Build your plate with steady partners. Roasted, non-starchy vegetables, think zucchini, peppers, broccoli, or mushrooms, add fiber and volume. A small serving of quinoa or beans brings additional fiber and minerals that help smooth your post-meal curve. The combo of protein and fiber works like a brake, slowing how fast glucose enters the blood. A drizzle of olive oil on the vegetables can add satisfaction without spiking numbers. Watch labels on store-bought marinades. Many hide 5 to 10 grams of sugar per serving under names like brown sugar, molasses, or corn syrup. You can skip that surprise by mixing olive oil, lemon juice, garlic, and dried herbs at home. Add smoked paprika or cumin if you want a deeper flavor without sweetness. For tenderness, marinate for 30 minutes, then pat dry before cooking to encourage browning and keep the texture firm, not soggy. If you prefer ready-made, look for low or no sugar options from brands that keep added sugars close to 0 per serving. Next up, we'll shift from poultry to a protein that brings its own healthy fats and a different kind of support for steady numbers. Salmon brings high-quality protein without carbohydrates, plus omega-3s, EPA, and DHA that support heart health. For many of us, that means a satisfying main dish that fits blood sugar goals and supports overall metabolic health without complicated rules. You might hear mixed messages about whether salmon directly lowers blood sugar. The research on immediate glucose changes is not consistent. Here's why it still matters. Omega-3s help manage triglycerides, and they play a role in keeping inflammation in check. Those are meaningful wins for long-term heart health. So while you might not see a dramatic drop after a single serving, you're stacking habits that support steadier days. Think of wild salmon as a steadying anchor. The protein helps you feel full and makes it easier to keep portions of starches modest. Smaller portions of carbs mean a smaller rise after the meal. For many older adults, that single shift keeps daily readings more predictable, and because salmon itself is low in carbs, it won't push glucose up the way refined sides can. Source matters. Wild-caught salmon typically has a more favorable fat profile and fewer contaminants than some farmed options. Farmed fish can carry more omega-6 fats and persistent pollutants like PCBs. Those compounds have been linked with metabolic issues. Choosing wild helps you lower exposure while getting the omega-3s you want. If fresh isn't available, frozen wild fillets keep quality high at a fair price. Aim for 2 servings per week. A serving is about 3 ounces cooked, roughly a deck of cards. Keep the cooking simple to protect the benefits. Bake with lemon and dill, grill on medium heat, poach gently in broth, or use the air fryer for a crisp edge without extra oil. Skip brown sugar glazes and heavy cream sauces. They add sugar and saturated fat that work against glucose control. If you like a touch of sweetness, rely on lemon, fresh herbs, and a bit of olive oil to round out the flavor. Build a meal that steadies you for hours. Pair salmon with leafy greens or roasted Brussels sprouts for fiber and potassium. Add lentils for extra fiber and a touch of plant protein, or use a small scoop of farro for slow, sustained energy. The balance of protein, omega-3s, and fiber helps flatten the post-meal curve while keeping you satisfied until the next meal. A squeeze of lemon or a spoon of herb yogurt adds brightness without added sugar. On a budget. Canned wild salmon is a strong option and still rich in omega-3s. Drain it well and mix with egg, herbs, and oat or almond meal, then air fry into salmon cakes. Serve with a lemon yogurt sauce, and you've got a fast, affordable dinner with steady numbers. Look for cans that include bones and skin for added calcium and micronutrients. They soften during cooking and blend right in. Bottom line, wild salmon won't spike glucose, and its omega-3s support heart health while the protein keeps you full. Keep portions reasonable, sides fiber-rich, and sauces light so the benefits shine. Ready for an easy swap that keeps comfort foods on the menu and your readings on track? Ground turkey at 93% lean is a zero-carb protein, so it won't directly drive glucose up after you eat. The steady protein helps slow digestion when it's part of a mixed meal, which can smooth out post-meal rises. As a lighter swap for higher-fat ground meats, it trims saturated fat while keeping familiar recipes on the table. There's a catch with lean turkey: dryness. When it turns out bland, it's easy to reach for sugary sauces or stack it in extra bread, which pushes numbers higher than you planned. The fix is moisture and flavor built into the meat. Stir in a few tablespoons of low-sodium broth as it cooks, or fold in grated zucchini or finely chopped mushrooms for water and softness. A spoon of plain yogurt adds tenderness without sugar. Season boldly with chili powder, cumin, garlic, smoked paprika, oregano, or a splash of vinegar instead of ketchup or sweet sauces. Here's why that matters for your health goals. Lower saturated fat supports insulin sensitivity and heart health. Choosing 93% lean or higher keeps saturated fat in check, which is helpful for maintaining responsive cells over time. Protein at meals also improves satiety, so you're less likely to graze later, which often leads to unplanned glucose bumps. For seniors balancing blood sugar and heart health, this swap pulls double duty. Make it work in meals you already enjoy. Try turkey chili with beans for extra fiber and minerals, and keep the heat gentle to avoid drying. Build turkey and veggie skillet bowls with onions, peppers, spinach, and a spoon of tomato paste for depth. Stuffed peppers with quinoa add slow-digesting carbs and fiber that moderate the glucose rise. Or go lighter with turkey lettuce wraps using herbs, lime, and a low-sodium soy or coconut amino splash for brightness without sugar. Cook with simple steps that protect flavor. Brown the turkey in a little olive oil, break it up and drain excess fat. Deglaze the pan with low-sodium broth, then finish with herbs and spices. Skip pre-made sauces that often hide sugars and sodium under names like corn syrup solids, dextrose, maltodextrin, evaporated cane juice, rice syrup, or sweet chili. If you want a glaze effect, simmer vinegar with garlic and red pepper flakes until it reduces, then toss just before serving. Portion sizes still matter. Aim for 3 to 4 ounces cooked, about the size of a deck of cards. Pair the turkey with beans or lentils to bring fiber and resistant starch, which slows the glucose rise and supports a steadier curve. Add a side of sautéed greens or roasted vegetables with olive oil for satisfaction and potassium, which supports blood pressure goals. Next, we'll shift to a lighter protein that cooks fast, stays tender with gentle heat, and keeps the ingredient list short. Whitefish fits the bill when you want light, fast, and glucose-friendly meals. 5 ingredients and about 15 minutes can set you up for an easy dinner that supports steadier readings, especially when you balance the plate with fiber-rich sides. With whitefish like cod, haddock, pollock, or tilapia, it often is that simple. These fillets are very lean, high in protein, and contain virtually no carbohydrates, so they don't create the post-meal spikes you see with carb-heavy dinners. Their mild flavor also makes them an easy win if you prefer a gentler taste. There is a common pitfall, though. Lean fish can dry out fast and turn bland if it's overcooked. When that happens, many people turn to fried versions to fix the flavor, and that's where extra flour, breading, and oils can nudge glucose higher and add calories that don't help your goals. The solution is to keep the fish moist without adding carbs, so the flavor stays clean and the texture stays tender. Gentle cooking methods make the difference. Baking in parchment traps steam and keeps the fillet juicy. Poaching in low-sodium broth adds moisture without heavy sauces. The air fryer works too. Set a moderate temperature, brush with a light coat of olive oil, and cook until just flaky. These methods protect the natural nutrients and avoid the batter and deep frying that work against blood sugar control. A quick rest-off heat helps the fish finish cooking without drying out. Protein paired with fiber helps flatten the curve after your meal. Whitefish brings the protein, balance it with fiber-rich sides, so digestion slows and glucose enters your bloodstream more gradually. You also get useful micronutrients from these fish: iodine for thyroid support, selenium for antioxidant defense, and B vitamins for energy metabolism, helpful additions as you focus on stable numbers and heart health. Keep the seasoning short and simple. Mix paprika, garlic, lemon zest, and a pinch of salt and pepper. Lay the fillets on sliced tomatoes and a few olives. Drizzle a little olive oil and bake until the flesh turns opaque and flakes with gentle pressure. This Mediterranean-style tray bake adds flavor from herbs and healthy fats without adding sugar. It's fast, it's light, and it keeps the focus on steady glucose. Round out the plate with sides that pull their weight. Cauliflower mash offers comfort with far fewer carbs than potatoes. Steamed greens like broccoli, green beans, or spinach bring fiber and potassium. If you want a starch, keep it modest with a small portion of brown rice. Add a side salad dressed with olive oil and lemon for healthy fats that boost satisfaction and help you avoid late-night snacking. A quick label check protects your efforts. Some frozen fillets are injected with an added solution to hold moisture, which can raise sodium. That pushes blood pressure up for many older adults. Look for plain fish with no additives beyond water and natural flavor. Thaw in the fridge, pat dry before cooking, and season yourself to control salt. The payoff is a light plate that satisfies, supports heart health goals, and keeps glucose steady when paired with fiber-forward sides. Up next, we'll look at another everyday option where the choice of cut and preparation can make or break your results. Pork can be a steadying protein or a source of inflammation. The difference is the cut and the cure. When you choose lean, whole cuts, you get protein that helps keep you full without the extras that can nudge blood sugar and blood pressure up. When you reach for cured or salted versions, you bring in sodium, preservatives, and added sugars that work against steady numbers. So let's focus on the cuts that help. Tenderloin and loin chops are your best bets. They're naturally lean, with solid protein and lower saturated fat than fattier cuts. That supports insulin sensitivity and heart health as you age. A steady dose of high-quality protein helps your meal digest more slowly, which can reduce the size of your glucose rise after eating. You also get key nutrients: B vitamins that support energy use, zinc for immune function, and potassium that supports healthy blood pressure. Here's the problem with pork's reputation. Many pork products are processed, salty, and cured. Those products are linked with higher risks for type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and even colorectal cancer when eaten regularly. Fresh tenderloin and loin chops are different. They start as whole muscle so you can control the seasoning and the sodium. That makes them easier to fit into a plan that aims for steady glucose and a lower heart risk. Keep it simple with whole cuts. Trim visible fat. A 3 to 4 ounce cooked portion is a helpful target for most older adults. That size gives you protein for satiety without pushing calories too high. It also leaves room on your plate for vegetables and fiber-rich sides that slow digestion and support a smoother glucose curve. When you feel full and satisfied, it's easier to avoid late-night snacks that can nudge numbers up. Season for flavor without sugar. Rub tenderloin or loin chops with garlic, smoked paprika, thyme, black pepper, and a thin coat of mustard. Roast or grill until the center reaches 145 degrees Fahrenheit, then rest for 3 minutes to keep the juices in. This method keeps the meat tender and avoids charring from very high heat. Skip sugary glazes, syrups, and heavy cream sauces. Those add fast carbs and saturated fat that work against your goals. Build steady plates around the pork. Roast carrots and green beans on the same pan with a light drizzle of olive oil. Add a small scoop of farro or a half cup of beans. The fiber from those sides slows how fast glucose enters your bloodstream and helps you feel satisfied longer. A squeeze of lemon and fresh herbs over the vegetables adds brightness without sugar. Read labels closely at the store. Choose fresh, unseasoned tenderloin or loin chops. Pre-seasoned or marinated packages can hide sugars and a lot of sodium under names like brown sugar, dextrose, honey, or corn syrup solids. Buying plain cuts lets you decide the salt level and avoid ingredients that can push blood pressure higher. Lean pork earns its place on a glucose-friendly menu when it's a whole cut, simply seasoned and paired with fiber. But not all pork fits that profile, and some popular options fall into a different category with very different effects on your health. The most convenient meats may be the ones quietly pushing your numbers and your risk up. Processed meats cover bacon, sausage, hot dogs, deli slices, and other cured products. They're made with high sodium and preservatives like nitrates and nitrites, and many include sweeteners for flavor or browning. That mix can nudge blood pressure, increase inflammation over time, and make glucose control harder, even if the label shows 0 carbs. They're low carb, so why aren't they blood sugar friendly? Here's the catch. Blood sugar isn't only about carbohydrates. What you eat can affect how your cells respond to insulin and how quickly your body absorbs the rest of your meal. Processed meats often come with saturated fat and additives that stress your system. Over time, that can make your cells less responsive to insulin signal, so your body has to work harder to move glucose out of the blood after meals. Let's keep the science brief. High sodium raises blood pressure and strains your heart and blood vessels. Nitrates and nitrites can form harmful compounds during cooking that irritate tissues. Add in saturated fat, and you get a steady push toward the inflammation and insulin resistance. When cells become insulin resistant, more insulin is needed to do the same job, and post-meal glucose can run higher and stay high longer. For older adults, that pattern often shows up as afternoon or evening readings that drift higher. Research trends point the same way. Even small daily portions of processed meats are linked with higher risks of type 2 diabetes and heart disease. The pattern is dose-dependent. The more frequent the intake, the higher the risk. That means a breakfast sausage here and a deli sandwich there adds up. You might not notice changes week to week, but the long-term effect matters for glucose control and heart health. There are hidden sugars, too. Glazes on bacon, honey-cured hams, maple breakfast links, and some deli meats use sweeteners for color and taste. Labels may list dextrose, corn syrup solids, brown sugar, or honey. Those grams can slip into your day without you counting them, and the sweet-salty combo makes portions easy to overeat. Watch also for fillers like starches that can add unexpected carbs. You have simple swaps that keep convenience. Replace deli slices with home-roasted skinless chicken or turkey. Slice and freeze portions for quick lunches. Use canned tuna or salmon packed in water as a ready protein for salads or wraps. For meatless days, beans and hummus offer fiber and protein that help keep glucose steady without the additives. If you must buy processed meats, read labels closely. Look for options with no nitrites or nitrates added, and choose low-sodium versions. Keep portions small and use them occasionally rather than daily. Cook gently and avoid charring, which can create more irritating compounds. Balance the plate with high-fiber sides to blunt post-meal rises. And remember, even natural or uncured versions can still be processed and salty, so treat them as sometimes foods. Your protein choices can steady your blood sugar during the day, but what you reach for at night can either protect that progress or quietly undo it while you sleep. For many adults over 60, the biggest spike doesn't come after dinner. It shows up the next morning, triggered by the wrong late-night snack. That's why your next step matters. In the next video, you'll see 5 doctor-approved bedtime snacks that help keep glucose stable overnight so you aren't waking up to higher numbers. Tap the video on your screen now so your daytime proteins and your nighttime routine work together to keep your glucose on track around the clock.